and Nicole Tepper Foundation hosting a CPR and AED training event at Bank of America Stadium this morning, and this is all in partnership with the American Heart Association. Now, the Tepper Sports and Entertainment, the David and Nicole Tepper Foundation announced that they're committing $600,000 to the American Heart Association to support. And just remember, just think back as this interview, both of these interviews are playing. We're going to hear from a trainer, and we're also going to hear from Nicole Tepper herself. A couple of years ago, Damar Hamlin from the Buffalo Bills, that situation playing out on Monday Night Football. So this is preventative work and preventative measures for something like this in case it does happen again. But let's take you to the event and to these interviews and hear what they have to say. Let's listen to that.
So as an athletic trainer, this is part of our training that we have to do to be a certified athletic trainer, and it's something that we all take pride in. So whether it's a 2-hour refresher course, a 4-hour seminar like this, I don't think you can put a timetable on that. And in my 27 years of practicing it, that was my first time actually using it on a live human being. So I'm extremely grateful for all the training that I've had, and then just learning from other members of our team when we do our training, and it's an opportunity just to make sure we're doing it effectively and accurately.
In the days that followed the incident in Cincinnati, did you ever envision sort of what would become proactively, to follow the Damar incident?
At that time, I don't think it was on anybody's radar. I think the most important thing was for just the safety of Damar and his recovery. But I'm eternally grateful now, afterwards, that every NFL city is doing something like this or something similar. And then just the ripple effect that this has had throughout the country, as I said earlier, whether it's athletic trainers that may not have access to AEDs or youth sports. I think just that ripple effect now, like I said, is immeasurable, and I'm so grateful to be part of it. It wasn't just me, it was all of us, and it's a blessing.
How eye-opening was that those skills are going to be needed on a football field?
Again, in athletic training, I'm highlighting athletic training because that's what I am. We prepare for the worst, hope for the best. So whether you're a high school athletic trainer or a college athletic trainer, when you step foot on that field, your mind is to render care to the player, whether it's an orthopedic need, a medical need, cardiovascular need, pulmonary need. You're in that mindset that you are there to render care regardless of what the situation may be. And you rely on your colleagues. But I also know athletic trainers in small rural Oklahoma that render care and have the saves that we did. It's just not on the national level, So always will be grateful for those opportunities that I've had.
Yeah, coming in here from Buffalo, how aware were you of Nicole and David's involvement in the American Heart Association and how the incident kind of impacted them and the way that they handled their stuff?
So I was eternally grateful when Damar mentioned that he was going to Carolina, and I was proud of him for putting himself out there so early. It was basically 4 months after the incident. So that just speaks volumes for him, but then also for Nicole and David to get involved and be a beacon for other teams to follow, I think is just extraordinary.
How comfortable do you feel sort of putting yourself out there for a cause like this? I would imagine, you didn't get in it for the celebrity, but now that it's here, being able to have that kind of role in a community like this.
If it helps save one person's life, and if I have to be out in front of a camera speaking about the importance of CPR, I am all for it. If it helps a kid that may not have access to an AED at a local high school field or a field that may not be associated with a school, I'm all for it.
Did you mention your first action, the first time you performed a live campaign with Damar Hamlin's incident? The impact of moments like this, events like this, where you're preparing people for that moment they may never see or may never come. How did that inform your ability to act in that moment?
Again, I draw back on our training as medical providers for those events. In the National Football League, we have emergency action plans that we follow, and then we rehearse these on a routine basis. The NFL, we mandate a 60-minute meeting before each game where all 30, there's basically 30 medical providers on an NFL field at any given time. So relying on that review process helps us prepare for those events.
I guess to sort of clarify my question, for someone not in your position who doesn't get those kinds of reps, how you would encourage them to act should they face a moment like this? Have they experienced a training like this?
Yeah, I think you draw on these experiences. Sign up for a CPR course, whether it's the full 4-hour one or just hands-only CPR. That has been proven to save lives as well. So if you don't try, you don't practice, you're not going to know how you react in those certain situations. So why not sign up for a AHA event?
So how often would you recommend refresher courses, so to speak?
Well, if you're certified in CPR, I believe it's every 2 years or 4 years for the refresher. As far as bystander CPR, if you can do that every 2 to 3 would be fantastic.
How much pride do you take knowing that once you had that event 2 years ago, other NFL teams were doing the same thing and bringing a little bit of attention?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the main reasons that we started it, was to bring awareness, but to open the doors for all the other 31 other teams to jump on board. We set the platform, like we had it all scheduled out. They could just use our blueprint and then move. So it feels really good to hear that they did that.
To have somebody like Denny that's willing to do some of the publicity and getting him in front of cameras when I would imagine that's not something that he would be comfortable with, and then being able to bring DeMar in so soon after the incident when such a traumatic event, having those voices to be able to sort of amplify your message, how important has that been and how valuable is that?
I mean, for me, it was such a full circle moment when Denny came on board. I actually didn't put 2 and 2 together. I was at Super Bowl, and I was busy and running around and realized at that moment it was, oh, it's that Denny. And I was so excited because, I mean, really the true story of why this happened was we were being called on to donate monetary to Chasing M's for DeMar. It just didn't feel right for me. It just, to give a monetary donation while he's still lying in a hospital bed just didn't feel right. And I just wanted to sit on it for a little while. And I wanted to do something really special and important to give back, because I knew with my family's history with heart, it was just an opportunity on all levels. And so then when I realized Denny was here and to be in this organization and to kind of jump on board with me and support me in this way, knowing the heroic act that he performed 2 years ago it was amazing. And I think he's going to be a real key person in this initiative with American Heart. So I'm excited.
Nicole, how much have you stayed in contact with DeMar over the last 2 years, and has that kind of relationship grown?
Unfortunately, not a lot. Through Nancy Brown and American Heart, I mean, he plays for the Buffalo Bills, and it's hard. Would all teams love to do more with him in this initiative? Yes, but he's still playing, so it's hard. He knows that we're doing this on behalf of him and what he had experienced 2 years ago, and we make that very clear that this happened because of that, and we're continuing to build on it. So I hope he knows that, he's always in our hearts, literally, and that we're spreading awareness because of something so terrible and tragic that had happened to him 2 years ago. And I think all other teams too, same thing. I think, it takes that one unfortunate thing to happen, but unfortunately it ended in a way we wanted it to. So
Nicole, Denny said that the DeMar incident was the first time he actually had to use CPR on a live human, and he talked about how trainers, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Being able to train this many people, over the last couple of years, how much pride do you take in knowing that you've got a really huge sector of this building that is prepared in case that strikes again?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think what I hope everyone out there takes away is recertifying yourself. I think if you listen to Denny, he said he kept certifying, taking classes, so over time he was prepared for if that were to happen, he was ready. So this is an opportunity not only to get CPR AED training one time, you could be a TSC employee and recertify yourself in 2 years. So that's really important to come back down, because I know it's hard, right? You have to keep doing it, but every 2 years, if you keep retraining yourself, you'll be that much more prepared if some unfortunate event should happen. So it's really that recertifying is important, and being able to give the staff that opportunity is really important too.
To that end, I mean, how proud are you just of the people in this building? Because it's, I think it was a 3-hour online course, and now more. Like,
Was
it's
it 3
not,
hours? I heard 90 minutes. I'm hearing
it's,
all kinds
well,
of...
yeah, but either way, it's
It
a
is,
lot of
it's a
time
lot.
invested, and just to have this turn out for the building, it's got to make you proud.
Yeah, no, it does. It makes me really proud. I'm really happy to be able to give them the opportunity. I'm glad they took the opportunity. I think sometimes when you have that, fall in your lap, you think about, where will I be? We have community relations. They're always in schools and in classrooms, and then, you're around the building, you're around athletes. You're just always around somebody who may go down, and you'll be ready. So that's...
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nope, that's okay.
I know we're talking about the initiatives and the things that you guys are doing here today with the training here today, but you guys have also made a large monetary commitment to providing this training for all Charlotte youth sports. Can you talk a little bit about that and how important
sure.
that is?
We kind of did some research. I don't have all the data and numbers, but there was a lot of facilities, there was a lot of coaches and staff throughout youth sports here in Charlotte that were not CPR trained. They did not have AED equipment. So we, took some time to look into that, and we're going to provide that for youth sports, coaches, communities, the police department, everywhere where it was lacking. We're going to hit head on and try to get them everything that they need, so the community is prepared and safe.
I did want to ask you about you referenced on the stage just what you experienced with your father. To think back to that part of your story and now having the platform and the resources to serve in this way.
Yeah.
What does that bring to life?
It's funny, I did think of that on stage. I wish he was alive to see it. It means so much. I mean, I didn't know then, what I know now. He actually never had a heart attack. I took him to the hospital before he actually had the heart attack, so he went and got quadruple bypass before the heart attack, which was great. But it means a lot. It means, when you're able to be in the situation that Dave and I are in, giving back is really, really important. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to have an attachment to something you give back to, but this one is really extra special, so, yeah.
Any other personal stories you've heard from people since you guys began this program that really impacted you?
Just not in any unfortunate situation happening, but just stories about being certified and having the opportunity to have this training. A bunch of stories about that, but nobody had to use it that I know of, thank goodness. And then being recertified is really important. We talked about that with the employees a lot, about how important it is to stay on top of the certification and keep getting educated on CPR training and having the AEDs. I think the one cool thing is people now know where all the AED equipment is in this building and at Charlotte FC. So before that, nobody knew. So that's pretty cool too. So yeah.
And that was a full interview from Bank of America Stadium today. A cool event, CPR AED event put on by the Tepper Foundation there. You heard from a trainer, and then that was Nicole Tepper right there.